let's just talk about that market. So we're seeing it under pressure, in fact, up last week when the whole world, because of Greece, was on the slide. Any specific reason why people are taking a liking to the Nigerian market?
Hi, Godfrey. Well, quite a bit of good news in the Nigerian markets last week. First, with the passing of the AMC bill on Wednesday, that spurred activities for a stronger market gain on Friday. And then results released from Tier 2 banks last week, as well as in the week before, gave investors a pretty comfortable position of views on investing in these stocks.
Apart from that, should we perhaps, do you think, be reading the fact that perhaps the market is getting comfortable with the fact that President Goodluck Jonathan finally has a mandate, and we do know now that he is going to be in power for a year, and therefore that's, of course, good for investor confidence?
Yes, I mean, that in addition has definitely provided some sort of certainty or stability to investors' outlook for the market. The change in status of the national leadership has been a good thing for the market, and I believe that that's also one of the reasons that we saw positive gains last week.
But apart from the political stability question being settled, should we also be reading into these results a suggestion that economic fundamentals for the Nigerian economy remain okay, particularly given the kind of results that we've seen coming out of the banking sector and all the questions that we still have around the banking sector?
Okay, let's start with the AMC bill that was passed. We noted that on Friday, for instance, R8 banks like Intercontinental and Oceanic saw very strong bids for their stocks, and because the general feel is that they are going to be one of the greatest beneficiaries of the passage of the bill. They're going to have a lot of toxic assets taken away from their balance sheet, and they're going to have a lot of liquidity in their balance sheet. So that's one start. And then if we look at the results that some of the banks have posted for Q1, even though we've seen some reductions reductions in their gross earnings profile, net interest income profiles, some increases in their cost to income profiles, they really have shown that they are beginning to recover from all the provisions that were made last year. Many of them have put into place very strong risk management frameworks that will ensure that they do not see the kind of provisions that they had to make last year.
But can we also not be reading the fact that, we've got all these banks making provisions for the toxic assets, but still at the same time, surely this buying is premised on the hope that Goodluck Jonathan is finally going to sign that bill for the AMC?
Yes, for the AMC, that's all that's left right now. The House has approved it. The Senate has approved a slightly different version, so there has to be a harmonization of the positions from the two houses. But subject to that, all that is left is for the president to sign in the AMC bill. And once he does that, there's an approval for it, and they can start to run.
When do you think he'll be able to sign?
I couldn't put a timeline to that, but upon the signing of the bill, there's expected to be an injection of about 200 billion naira into those banks, in terms of trying to soak up the toxic assets, and that would be a significant plus for the banking sector.
Yeah, but break down the interest that we're seeing in the Nigerian market. Who has been buying those banks? Are we talking foreigners here mostly, or are we also talking about a combination of foreigners and locals coming into the banking sector?
It has been a mix of both. Suffice it to say, the foreign investors are significant players in our markets now, and I believe that a lot of the interest we've seen, has come from them. They are holding significant positions in a lot of these banks, but the domestic investors too have started to see value on the back of activities that we've seen in the banking sector till date. HNIs, institutionals have seen that there are prospects for these banks. A lot of them have the potential to deliver stronger earnings coming into the 2010 financial year.
But that interest is interesting, isn't it? Because when you think about it, what we saw last week was wholesale sale of the markets because of the Greek situation. And yet here we are at the same time in Nigeria, a country in transition, if you like, new political leader coming in, and foreigners appear to be finding some pockets of value and actually bringing in money into the country when everywhere else they're pulling out.
If you would really need to look at the fundamentals to to understand why that is happening. From a fundamental viewpoint, the change in the leadership, the change in status of the leadership means certainty to political stability. That's the first. And then looking at the reforms in the banking sector, that has also been a good thing. Looking at the reforms by the Securities and Exchange Commission, that's a plus as well. Looking at strengthening oil production profile, oil prices have been pretty good up until last week, where they fell below $80 per barrel. And so the macro stances or the macro fronts appears to be looking pretty good for Nigeria. And that would explain why many foreign investors will be looking at investing here.